10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban.
Night Stalker.
Dire team pick.
Lycan.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Ancient apparition.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
Keeper of the light.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Send.
Dire team pick. Pack. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Redbull.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team banned.
Faceless Void.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Death Prophet.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Tide Hunter.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and this evening we are going to see a game between Generation X and White Shadows. Okay, we are going to be seeing White Shadows on the Radiant side. Oh, okay, we see the White Shadows playing in the Radiant side, while Generation X are going to be playing on the Dire side. We see the Crybaby taunt coming in from Justice, RJ, who's playing the Night Stalker. A little bit of a whiny guy, I think. So the game is paused, so let me give out a shout out to one of our sponsors, SRM University and Phoenix Market City, Bangalore. Do check them out.
They're all dead!
The Viper reconnected into the game, and I assume it's going to start pretty soon. The go sign has been given. And we see an immediate smoke up coming in from the side of White Shadows. The Night Stalker, he's going to TP to the top shrine, trying to place the ward in that off lane. Try to make life better for the Puck, who I assume is going to go to the off lane solo. So it's going to be a Death Prophet in the mid lane, with the Faceless Void playing the safe lane, supported by the Keeper of the Light and the Night Stalker. Meanwhile, for the side of Generation X, we see the Ancient Apparition, Tidehunter, Sand King, Viper, and a Lycan in their draft. A pretty solid draft. I don't see the Lycan playing into this too much, but they do have those reliable stuns, that is the Sand King and the Tidehunter's Ravage. So maybe they'll enable the Lycan to deal the damage that he needs to win these team fights. So we see a poor man's shield being queued up for the Faceless Void in the bottom lane, who will be up against a Tidehunter. That is not going to be an easy lane for him, since the Tidehunter can just use Anchor Smash, and the Kraken Shell will allow him to be tanky throughout the laning phase. We see the Puck, though, an exorbitant amount of tangos in his inventory with 4 Ironwood branches. He's looking really well. You see the Puck is going to scout out the heroes of Generation X. The Lycan and the Ancient Apparition are going to be in the safe lane. And the Sand King is going to be rotating around, try to help that Lycan get his farm. So a Viper versus a Death Prophet in the mid lane. I would give the advantage to the Viper, since he deals way more damage than the Death Prophet can steal HP from. So we see a salve getting delivered to the Viper in the mid lane, and the game gets paused immediately. It seems as though the characters from the side of Generation X, they have a little bit of a problem. The Lycan has disconnected. The go sign has been given. The game is going to resume. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we see a Burrow Strike onto the Puck. The Puck does have the Illusory Orb, so she's going to survive for a little bit. She survives with a sliver of her HP, so things are not looking really well for the Puck. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we see the Viper is getting zoned out by the Death Prophet's right clicks. The Q from the Viper does not prove to be enough to harass the Death Prophet out of the lane. Not yet, actually. An Ironwood branch being consumed in the top lane by the Puck, so he's going to be okay for now. Actually, we see a rotation coming in from the Night Stalker. The Sand King gets dangerously low. The Tidehunter, though, he seems to be having a really good time in the bottom lane. He is going to get himself a Quelling Blade so he can make his life easier last hitting those creeps. Faceless Void himself is looking really well, and this is going to be the 2-minute mark. Let's see if there's going to be anything going down near the rune spots. The Night Stalker has rotated onto the mid lane. If they decide to go for the Viper, it will be pretty disastrous, but they decide not to. The Horde lane creeps are going to get pulled to the hard camp. And we see the Night Stalker just camping in the mid lane, trying to harass the Viper out of the lane. But it seems as though the reverse is going to happen. He is going to get pretty low from the Viper, and he is going to go back to base. Okay, actually not. He's going to rotate to the bottom lane, maybe hope for a kill onto the Tidehunter. He has 2 points into his Anchor Smash, so things are looking really well for him. The Mana Leak on the Tidehunter not proving to do much in the lane. And we actually see the Night Stalker has rotated and grabbed both of the bounty runes for himself. And the rotation is coming in. The Night Stalker is going to spot out the Tidehunter. He's in a dangerous position. There is going to be the Mana Leak. If he moves around and gets stunned, he might be in a dangerous position. The Anchor Smash is going to be there, so he's going to be safe. Actually, we see the spam coming in from the Night Stalker. He is going to get the Tidehunter pretty low, harass him out of the lane. Meanwhile, in the top, the Puck seems to be doing relatively well compared to the Tidehunter.
I think not.
So we do see the Void. He is actually doing pretty well. He's third on the net worth charts. The Lycan is topping it though, since he is getting supported by both of his supports, that is the Sand King and the Ancient Apparition. I don't think he's missed a last hit as of now. And look at him, he's just pulling the creeps away from the tower so he can make life easier for himself. And the Ancient Apparition is going to go grab that bounty rune. The Night Stalker, this is the night time, so he should be going for a gank in the mid lane if things are going to go well. The Sandstorm is going to be there, and the Sand King is just going to be farming the neutral creeps in the dire jungle. The Night Stalker though, he's going to get spotted out by the Viper. The Viper though, he's in a really dangerous position. If the Night Stalker decides to go for him, things might not look really well for him. There is going to be a double damage in the bottom lane. The Soul Siphon is going to be there. That is going to get the Viper pretty low. The right click coming in from the Death Prophet is pretty high itself. And we actually see an initiation onto the mid lane. The Viper is getting really low, but the tower proves to be too much of a hurdle for the Night Stalker to go through. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Tidehunter is absolutely going ham on that Faceless Void. He knows that the Night Stalker is not there, so things are looking really well for him. He's probably going to get his mech pretty soon, and the Puck also is going to get harassed out of the lane. He's forced to use that Illusory Orb to get out.
Dire's top
The
tower
Tidehunter
is
though,
under
he's
attack.
out of mana, but he does have that Kraken Shell, so he can still stay in the lane for quite a bit. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we are going to see the first blood is going to go, the Puck is going to go down. Generation X, take that. The Tidehunter does have that Mango, so he can just pop that and go for those last hits with that Anchor Smash. But we actually see him getting really low. There is going to be that Mana Leak, and he's going to get stunned and harassed out of the lane by the Keeper of the Light.
Off with you. Double damage.
And we see the double damage being picked up by the Night Stalker. He can rotate onto the bottom lane, try to get a kill onto the Tidehunter. And we see the rotations happening right now. The Mana Leak is going to be there, and that Void. A few last hits is also going to be there, but the TP is not going to save his life. He's going to get right-clicked down by the Faceless Void. The Night Stalker is going to take that kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the Lycan is looking really strong. He's going to finish up his power threats and probably go for that Necrobooks. Actually, it seems as though he does not want to complete his power threats. He's just going to go for the Necrobooks right away. A Regent Rune being picked up by the Night Stalker. Maybe he can rotate onto the mid lane, get a kill onto the Viper. Actually, the Sand King is not going to spot out the Night Stalker. The double damage does wear off. The Sandstorm is going to be there, so he's going to be safe. There is going to be a rotation coming in the bottom lane. The Ancient Apparition trying to look for a kill onto the Faceless Void before he gets that Chronos. If they get a kill onto the Faceless Void before he gets his ultimate, things would look really well for him. And we actually see the Tidehunter is the Sand King and the Ancient Apparition have rotated to the bottom lane. The Cold Feet is not going to proc, but there is going to be the Burst Strike and one more right click. The Keeper of the Light goes down. The Faceless Void not having any power to save his support. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the Lycan is looking really well. Since the Ancient Apparition did TP to the bottom lane, he's going to have an easier lane right now. So the Lycan and the Viper are leading the net worth charts, with the Death Prophet and the Faceless Void soon to follow. We see a Mana Leak going to come in onto the Lycan. He is going to take a lot of damage, but he will be able to escape with that wolf form. And he's going to pop a salve, and he's just going to go to the neutral creeps, farm that up.
Invisibility.
Actually, it seems as though the Faceless Void wants to go for that Hand of Midas. He has a recipe in his inventory already. He can just go. But meanwhile, we see the Invis Rune coming in from the Viper is going to secure a kill onto the Night Stalker. He goes down just like that. A classic play coming in from the Viper with that Invis Rune.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Faceless Void has enough money to get that Hand of Midas. He just needs to go to the secret shop. But there is going to be the Sand King, so things are not looking really well for him. But then again, he also has that Chronosphere, so he can escape from most of the initiations coming in from the side of Generation X. The Tidehunter is going to get spotted out. The Mana Leak is also going to be there. The Tidehunter actually has a Ravage, so he can actually go for that with the Sand King backing him up. But I don't think he's going to go for that. The Iron Talon purchase coming in from the Tidehunter. He is going to look really strong right now. He can just go and rotate onto the neutral creeps, get that. The Sand King is going to get spotted out by the Keeper of the Light. There is going to be that Burst Strike, and a few more right clicks is going to secure the kill. The Chronosphere is going to be there on 2 heroes, but that is probably not going to result in any kill. There is going to be that Soul Siphon coming in from the Death Prophet. That is going to do a lot of damage, and yes, that is going to secure a kill onto the Sand King. The Ancient Apparition, he is not looking really well, but there is not going to be another Void to secure the kill. It seems as though the Death Prophet wants to dive the tier 1 to get that kill, but she decides otherwise. She goes back, and yeah, the Sand King goes down in return for the Keeper of the Light down in the bottom lane.
I'll take your.
You see the Arcane Boots purchase coming in from the Tidehunter. He's looking really strong right now in that off lane. And an armlet going to get purchased by the Lycan, so he does not want to go for that Necrobook build. He probably wants to go for that Mask of Manus into armlet, just getting that right click, hard right click going on. The Buck has that Soul Ring, so he's looking really strong. That is okay. That was not a really optimal play coming in from the Puck, but he is going to survive anyhow. He still has the Illusory Orb, so he can go for the kill. And meanwhile, we see the Burst Strike coming onto the Puck. He is going to die just like that. He will not actually be able to get the kill onto the Ancient Apparition. Actually, label me wrong, because the Dream Call break is going to be there, and he's going to go down. Meanwhile, the Night Stalker also goes down. That is going to be 2 kills going the way of Generation X. The Night Stalker and the Puck going their way. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Mana Leak is going to be there. The Tidehunter is looking really weak. He can go for the kill onto the Tidehunter, but he uses that magic wand, and
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
he's going to replenish his HP. The Waning Rift is going to be there, and the Sand King is forced to get out of his Sandstorm and go back to the jungle. Chronosphere is going to be up in about 20 seconds. Maybe he can go for the kill onto the Tidehunter with one more rotation coming in from his supports.
Bottom feeder.
So the Sand King is looking really strong. He needs about 1000 gold to complete his Blink Dagger. We actually see a smoke up coming in from the Sand King and the Ancient Apparition. They are rotating onto the mid lane. Maybe if they play this right, they can get a kill onto the Death Prophet, but there is that Night Stalker roaming pretty closely. Then actually the Death Prophet is going to get baited by the double damage drone, and the Ice Blast is going to be there, so she will not be able to heal with that Soul Siphon. She is actually going to escape. If the Night Stalker comes to help, they can turn this around, but she's just going to go away. That is a fatal gank by the side of Generation X, and that is going to be the extent of that. So the Power Treads and Armlet being completed onto the Lycan, he can just go ahead and farm the neutral creeps.
You get nothing.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You actually see rotation coming in from the Death Prophet, and they can actually go for a kill onto the Tyrant. The Chronosphere is going to get spent, and the Spirit Siphon is dealing a lot of damage. One more right click, no, the Death Prophet is going to take that kill. The Lycan is dealing a lot of damage to the Puck in this lane. She does have the Delusionary Orb, so she is going to be safe for now. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, things cannot be said the same for the Night Stalker. He is going to be... He needs to be really careful since the Viper is not really alone. The Exorcism is going to get spent down in the bottom lane trying to get the tier 1. The tier 1 is going to get pretty low. I don't think the Ravage is going to get spent by the Tyrant. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the tower goes down. It's going to get denied by the Night Stalker. The Ravage is actually going to be there, and the Ice Blast is going to connect. That is going to be probably 2 kills going the way of White Shadows. Okay, 2 kills going the way of Generation X. Sorry, I'm a little bit confused. And the Burrow Strike is going to catch out the Keeper of the Light. That is 3 kills going the way of Generation X. White Shadows are not playing this well. They're getting caught out left and right. The Puck does not look to be getting that Blink Dagger anytime soon. The Power Treads and Ring of Aquila being completed onto the Viper. He is going to stray into the Radiant jungle if he gets spotted out by a hero like a Puck and the Night Stalker. He's definitely going to go down. A Hand of Midas purchase coming in from the Viper, so it seems like Generation X want to take this to the late game. So there is going to be 2 TPs coming down to the bottom lane, the Death Prophet and the Night Stalker. The Spirit Siphon is going to be there. That is going to deal a lot of damage, but there is going to be an Ice Blast coming in from the Ancient Apparition. That is going to get the Death Prophet really low. One more right click from the Lycan will result in the kill, but Flamey on the Ancient Apparition is going to take that kill. The bottom tower is probably going to go down. Keeper of the Light has TP'd there, so he needs to be really careful. If he gets caught out by the Burrow Strike coming in from the Sand King, he's going to go down for sure. One more right click coming in from the Ancient Apparition is going to get that kill. That is a triple kill on a support Ancient Apparition. Things are not looking really well for him. Meanwhile, the Puck is going to go down. One more right click coming in from the Viper. That is 3 kills going the way of Generation X again. White Shadows are not playing this well. The bottom lane is going to get sieged pretty soon by the Viper and the Lycan. He does have that wolf form off cooldown in about 15 more seconds. The Night Stalker and the Keeper of the Light have entered the lane, and maybe they can go for a kill onto the Viper. He is going to get mana leaked by the Keeper of the Light. The Exorcism is going to get popped up by the Death Prophet. The Silence is also going to be there coming in from the Puck, and that is going to result in a kill. The Ice Blast, though, that is going to connect onto the Keeper of the Light. But there is actually going to be an amazing Dream Coil coming in from the Puck that is not going to result in anything. The Sand King goes down, so does the Viper. The Lycanthrope is chasing down the Night Stalker. The Mana Leak is not going to connect, so he's not going to get stunned up. The Armlet coming in from the Lycanthrope proves to be too much for the side of White Shadows to handle. So that's going to be a triple kill going the way of Generation X again? That's a little bit weird. So the Tyrant is going to TP to the top lane. He's close to completing his mech. He will have that in this upcoming creep wave.
I'll take your tribute.
The Faceless Void, though, wants to go for that Mask of Madness. That will allow him to probably get a solo kill on any of these heroes if he catches a solo chrono. The Viper decides to go for that Hood of Defiance. That is going to allow him to mitigate a lot of magic damage coming in from the side of White Shadows. The Death Prophet does deal a lot of damage in magic, so does the Puck. So the Lycan actually opting for that Echo Saber. With that Echo Saber, he will be able to deal 2 quick right clicks with that wolf form. That is going to prove a little bit too devastating for White Shadows to handle.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The Ancient Apparition with that triple kill down in the bottom lane. He purchases a Urn of Shadows with that Arcane Boots. He's looking really strong. Meanwhile, we see a round of haters coming in from the Death Prophet. The Soul Siphon is also going to be there, but little does he know that there is also a Sand King and an Ancient Apparition just waiting there to support him. And turn around that little skirmish by the Death Prophet. So 4 heroes are going to TP to the top lane, try to go for a kill onto maybe the Tyranitar and his friends. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Puck is going to go for the push onto the tier 2. And he TPs to the top lane, so White Shadows are actually planning on taking a full-on 5-on-5 team fight in the top lane.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So the Sand King has completed his Blink Dagger. With that, they have a Tool of Initiation going for them. A weird build by the Sand King. He does not opt for an Arcane Boot, he instead went for a Tranquil Boot and a Blink Dagger. The Soul Rings should suffice for his need of mana. The Viper, having purchased his Hood of Defiance, opts to go for the Blade Mail next. That will allow him to be tanky in the front line, mitigating a lot of damage coming in from the exorcism by the Death Prophet. The bottom lane is going to get pushed up by the Lycan. He is looking really strong. He is actually leading the network charge on top, followed closely by the Viper. So there is going to be a rotation onto the mid lane by the Faceless Void and the Keeper of the Light.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
The Night Stalker is going to spot out the Tyranitar. The Tyranitar goes for the ankle smash, does not connect onto the Puck, so he's going to be safe.
Time is money.
So with that Mask of Madness purchase going for the Faceless Void, he will be able to go just AFK farm in the jungle. So a double damage rune is going to get spotted out by the side of Generation X.
Double damage.
They are going to rotate onto the bottom lane, maybe hope for a kill onto the Death Prophet. He is kind of chasing the Lycanthrope.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So we actually see the wolf form getting popped up by the Lycan, and the Sand King is soon to follow. The Ice Blast is going to be there. That is probably going to connect onto the Faceless Void. He is going to just go down. 3 right clicks coming in from the Lycan, and that is going to result in the kill. The Ravage is going to be there, and the Keeper of the Light just melts like butter. That is going to be a triple kill going the way of the Lycan. The Night Stalker is soon to follow. He is going to get spotted out by the Sand King and his friends. He does have the Blink Dagger, so that is going to result in 1 more stun and 1 more kill going the way of Generation X. That's 4 heroes down. The Puck was not the only one who's to survive that, and that is solely because he did not participate in that team fight. And it seems as though that is not going to be the case. The heroes on the side of Generation X are chasing down the Puck. They know he was in the mid lane, but he is going to go to the top Radiant jungle. Has that Yule Scepter being queued up. With that, he will be able to juke out a lot of abilities coming in from the Sand King.
Arcane mystery.
So there is going to be the Chronosphere going onto the mid lane. The Ice Blast is actually going to be there. That is going to get that Faceless Void pretty low. A few more right clicks going from the Ancient Apparition might result in the kill, but the Viper goes down. The Yule Scepter onto the Ancient Apparition is going to save him for a while, but he is going to get silenced by the Death Prophet. And the Tyranitar, though, he is going to rotate in a really wrong time, and he is going to go down. Probably the Wolf form is going to be there, and the Lycan is trying to look for a kill onto the Puck, and 1 more right click might secure that, but he is going to get juked left and right, and he goes down. Okay, he actually hasn't gone down. He is getting really low though, and he's going to go down to the tick from the Urn of Shadows from the Night Stalker. That is going to be 4 heroes down for Generation X. White Shadows somehow managed to bring this back up. And the mid tower is going to get sieged.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
So
Radiant's
Shadowblade is
bottom tower
going to
is
get
under
purchased
attack.
by the Night Stalker pretty soon. Okay, not the Night Stalker, it's going to get purchased by the Faceless Void.
Invisibility.
He has that Mask of Madness with the Shadowblade. He will be able to catch any hero unaware. And we see the Viper opting to go for the Blade Mail. As I said, he is getting close to that. The mech has been completed on the Tidehunter. He decides to go for a Pipe of Insight instead of going for a Blink Dagger, since he does not find that really necessary with that Sand King and the Blink Dagger and Burrow Strike. We actually see the Face of Void is going to get spotted out by the Sand King and his friend, the Ancient Apparition. The Ravage is actually going to be there. The Ice Blast is going to miss pretty hardly, and the Faceless Void looking really weak, but he will be able to escape. So 2 big ultimates were expended in the team fight, not resulting in any kill going their way. The Lycan in the top lane is trying to get a kill onto the Night Stalker maybe, but the Night Stalker does have that E of his, so he will be able to escape if things get pretty hard on him. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we see the Chronosphere going to get spent onto the Tidehunter. He is going to go down pretty hard. The Epicenter is going to be there, but that is not going to result in any kill. He gets caught out by the Chronosphere. The Dream Call is going to be there on the Sand King. He is going to get silenced for now. The Burst Strike will save his life for now, but the Mana Leak on the Sand King is going to result in his kill. The Ice Blast is going to connect onto the Puck and the Faceless Void, and he can probably escape from this, but the Yule Scepter is going to be there, and he goes down. A double kill going the way of the Faceless Void. 3 kills going the way of White Shadows. The Exorcism being popped onto the Death Prophet. They're probably going to rotate onto the mid lane, get that tier 2 going for them. Meanwhile, the Diffusal Blade purchase going for the Lycan. With that, he will be able to slow down the heroes like the Night Stalker and chase them down. And it seems as though they don't really want to go for the tier 2, they are opting to go for the Roshan. With that Exorcism, he does get pretty low. And with that Medallion coming from the Night Stalker, they make short work of the Aegis. The Ice Blast is going to connect onto the Roche Pit, and that is probably going to be the Faceless Void going down, ticking to the last amount of damage coming from the Ice Blast. Okay, actually not. He's going to pop the Shrine. He's just going to be safe for now. The Roche is really low though, so the heroes from the side of Generation X are trying to go for a kill. The Sand King decides to TP back to his base, and this is going to be a full-fledged team fight in the Roche Pit. The Roche is getting pretty low. The Sand King is going to get silenced by the Death Prophet, and he's probably going to go down. One Waning Rift coming in from the Puck, that is going to secure the kill. The Tidehunter is trying to stop that Aegis going for the side of White Shadows. It is going to go down, and it's going to get snatched up by the Death Prophet. An amazing play coming the way of White Shadows, and he's probably going to go down. The Urn of Shadows is going to tick him really low. A few more right clicks might just result in the kill. And Generation X not being able to stop the Roshan. The Lycan does not have any mana to work with, so he's looking really weak. One more right click coming from the Lycan might secure the kill, but the Puck blinks right in the nick of time. The Faceless Void has a Chronosphere, but he is getting really low, so he needs to be careful about that. So the Keeper of the Light has that Force Staff being queued up in his quick buy that will allow him to force the heroes whom he has that Mana Leak on.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So the Hood of Defiance being purchased on that Tidehunter.
This sustains. Good haste.
A haste rune being picked up by the Sand King. He is going to go to the top lane trying to catch off heroes. He knows that the Faceless Void is going to TP there, and the Indus is going to be there immediately. So they need to be really careful. The Faceless Void might just catch a Chronosphere onto the Tidehunter, and that might result in a kill. And the Ravage is actually going to be there, and a beautiful Ice Blast coming in from the Ancient Apparition is going to secure the kill on the Faceless Void. The Death Prophet does go down. with that Aegis. She is going to respawn, but she's probably going to go down. The Night Stalker is getting really low. One more likely coming in from the Lycan is going to secure the kill. Meanwhile, the Burst Truck is going to be there onto the Death Prophet. And he is definitely going to go down with that. The Puck and the Keeper of the Light are going to be the only ones who survive that. And the tier 2 is going to be under siege from the side of Generation X. Actually, the Sandstorm is going to catch the Puck, not allowing him to blink, but he does have the Delusionary Orb, so he manages to escape.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
And Generation X are rotating into the top lane, trying to go for the high ground siege. The Burst Strike is going to catch out the Keeper of the Light. He does not have a force staff. He's going to get caught out by the Ice Blast. A few more right clicks might just secure the kill, but he decides otherwise. He just turns around and goes for the Illuminate, trying to mitigate a lot of damage being done to the tier 3. The Faceless Void does have that Chronosphere. He can decide to go for that anytime he wants, and he will go for that. He gets a dual Chronosphere and he decides to focus on that Ancient Apparition pretty soon. One more right click from the Faceless Void is going to secure the kill. The Dream Call is going to pop the Tidehunter and the Viper. The Viper is looking really tanky. He also has that Blade Mail in a few more seconds, so he will be able to stand and fight all these 3 heroes. But the Death Prophet with that Soul Siphon is going to secure the kill onto the Viper. The Tidehunter is soon to follow. He's going to be left for dead by his teammates. So that's going to be one more kill going the way of White Shadows. 3 heroes go down for Generation X.
Thank you, my beauties.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So the Sand King is going to retreat back and find that Prison Drone actually
Pain fades away.
getting close to Zeal Scepter. Since the game has reached a little bit of a stagnation point where I don't see any of these heroes going to go for a kill anytime soon, I'm going to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Acer Predator. Do check them out. Their gaming PCs are top of the line, and they also deal in computer peripherals. Circle CD Gaming, if you decide to ever build a desktop PC, do go for their cabinets. They're world class. And Redbull as our energy manager. And we see a 3-man smoke up coming from the side of White Shadows. They're going to rotate onto the dire jungle. They want to go for a kill onto the Sand King. They do know that he's in lane. He's going to get spotted out by the Puck. And we see the Sand King is actually going to get spotted out by the Night Stalker. He is going to get void and silenced by the Night Stalker. They could go for the kill actually, but the Night Stalker is really alone. He needs to be really careful. A few more right clicks coming in from the side of Generation X is going to secure the kill onto the Night Stalker. He goes down. Really bad smoke play coming in from White Shadows. They're messing up here and there. They have to be really careful about their smoke usage, since they can only do that a few amount of times in one game. So the Lycanthrope is going to get spotted out by the Faceless Void and the Knights and the Puck, and he is actually taking a lot of damage. He does have that wolf form, but he will not be able to pop that. The Dream Ball plus the Faceless Void combo is going to result in a kill going the way of White Shadows.
Mine.
So Nagan and Scepter being killed up for the Ancient Apparition. Since we did see him doing really well in the early game, I don't think that's a big surprise that he wants to go for the big item. The BKB is going to get completed under Death Prophet, so that is going to allow her to stay alive in these team fights much longer. And we see a BKB also getting queued up for the Viper. With that, he will be able to tank a lot of damage coming in from the Soul Siphon from the Death Prophet. The Viper is actually going to spot out the Courier and the Faceless Void. He actually gets a little bit confused, so that is not going to result in any kind of kill going the way for Generation X. So Silver Edge getting completed onto the Faceless Void. That is going to prove a little bit too dangerous for the Tidehunter, since the break does cancel out his Kraken Shell. The Tidehunter actually has completed his Guardian's Greaves, so in these team fights he will be able to dish out a lot of heals going his team.
Dire are scanning.
The Dire Scan is not going to connect onto the Night Stalker. They did think that he was going to be there, but he was just a little bit off. The Viper is just going to be farming the neutral creeps and the ancient camps, just trying to finish up his BKB. And we actually see the Faceless Void also opting to go for the BKB.
Trust me, I know how to handle such power.
We see a Puck though with a Dagon level 2. He's looking really strong even though he did not really have a pleasant lane in the top lane. The Faceless Void is going to get recalled down to the bottom lane. The Prophet is going to get surrounded by the heroes of Generation X, and we see the Nighttime is going to get popped up by the Night Stalker. The Faceless Void's Chronosphere is going to be there onto two heroes, but that is not going to result in any kind of kills going either way. The Death Prophet is going to get burst striked by the Sand King. He's going to get controlled. The Viper survives with a sliver of his HP. That is going to be two heroes going down for the side of White Shadows. Generation X somehow managed to salvage that team fight. A few right clicks is going to secure the kill onto the Night Stalker. He will not be able to TP away. The Yield Scepter is going to be there right at the nick of time. And we actually see the Keeper of the Light is going to get spotted out by the Tide Hunter. He can actually go for the kill if he decides to get that gush. The burst strike is sadly not going to connect onto any of the heroes. The Shrine is going to get popped up by the Viper. They're going to rotate onto the bottom lane, trying to secure the kill onto the tier 2. The Ice Blast is going to be there. That is not going to connect onto any of these heroes, but that does secure a bunch of creep kills. So yeah, Ancient Apparition doing the right plays at the right time. And the Puck has enough money to just get that Dagon, but he decides not to.
Here I am.
He actually has enough money to go for Dagon 4. But I guess he's going to be saving up for
Dire's
buyback.
top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So Generation X are just going to siege the bottom lane. The tier 2 is definitely going to go down. But meanwhile, the Puck solo in the top lane secures
Radiant's
the
bottom tower is under
top tier
attack.
2. There is going to be a beautiful Ice Blast connecting onto the Death Prophet, and she gets crit amazingly by the Lycan, and the Lycan is going to get initiated upon by the Faceless Void. He does not have the Chronosphere, so he needs to be really careful. Actually, he does have the Chronosphere, and he managed to secure the kill onto the Lycan. That is a big kill going his way. He did pop that Mask of Mana. I'm sorry, I can't really speak. My mouth is really dry. And we see 4 heroes from the side of Generation X are going to siege high ground. The Chronosphere being spent. The Puck has brought back into the game, so they will be able to defend this. The Mana Leak is going to be there onto the Viper, but he will be able to live through that. The Night Stalker is desperately trying to chase any of these heroes. The Illusory Orb is actually going to spot out the Ancient Apparition. He's going to get used up by a Puck, and he goes down. The Dagon coming into play right there. And the Void is actually not going to be there on the Tide Hunter, so he is going to be able to TP back to the base. The Rod of Atus though is going to be there on the Viper. He is going to get controlled, and a few more right clicks going that way will be able to secure the kill. The Faceless Void popping that Mask of Mana, popping that Mask of Mana, not tapping. I'm so sorry, English is not my first language. So the Pipe of Insight is going to get completed on the Tide Hunter. That is going to mitigate a lot of magic damage coming for his team. And he actually queues up for a Plate Mail. I assume that is going to get completed into a Shiva's Guard. And a Lotus Orb will go up for the Sand King, and Roshan is going to get contested by the side of White Shadows. With that Exorcism being popped and the Solar Crest coming the way from the Night Stalker, that is probably going to be an easy roast. The Ice Blast is actually going to connect, but they will not be able to stop the Roshan attempt. The cheese is going to get picked up by the Death Prophet, and they are going to rotate onto the mid lane, try to secure the kill onto the tier 2. It does not seem like White Shadows really want to go for a team fight. They are going to split up and farm. They really want to take those team fights in their turn. That is when their exorcism is going to be up. So the BKB has been completed on the Lycan. So that is going to allow him to deal a lot of damage, not getting worried about the mana leak coming from the Coddle or the Dream Coil coming in from the Puck. So he decides to go for an Orchid. So the Orchid will allow him to get an easy kill maybe onto the Puck or the Death Prophet if he catches them at the right moment. They do have the Dual Scepter to counter that. And the Puck is just going to be ratting out the top lane, just clearing those creep waves with his 2 huge nukes. There is going to be a rotation coming onto the top lane. The Puck is going to get spotted out by the Lycanthrope and his friends, but he will be able to escape, the Illusory Orb being there to help him out. The Lycan Wolves though, they spot out the Night Stalker, so he needs to be really careful. They can actually go for a kill if they commit enough heroes for that. So Heaven's Halberd being queued up for the Viper, that is going to allow him to make sure the Faceless Void does not get a kill on the Chronosphere if he does not get caught out.
Mine. Time is money.
So Exorcism is going to be up in a few more seconds, and maybe the heroes of White Shadows can decide to go for a push.
Trust me, I know how to handle such power.
The Ancient Apparition has about 2,000 gold more for his Aghanim Scepter to be completed. So he's looking really strong for support. Actually, in the mid lane, we see the heroes of White Shadows are gathering up. The Death Prophet does not have the Aegis. She has the cheese, so she needs to be really careful. The Anchor Smash is not going to connect onto the top lane. The Puck will be able to escape from that with the Illusory Orb. So we see the Exorcism being committed onto the tier 2. They will be able to get that kill.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
The Tyrant is not really there to go for his team fight. He can't really TP with a Puck being around.
Has fallen.
So this is actually a genius play coming in from the side of White Shadows. They're just using that Puck to zone out that Tyrant, making sure that he does not get into the team fight anytime soon. He is going to get used up by the Puck, and there is going to be the rotation coming in from the Night Stalker. The Chronosphere is actually going to be there. That is going to deal a lot of damage onto the Tyrant. He does not have enough mana to go for the Ravage. Actually, he does. And let's see if he's going to pop that. He's not going to pop that. He's going to die pretty soon. And the Lycan pops that BKB, tries to go for a kill onto the Death Prophet. She's going to use herself up. But there is going to be the Burrow Strike as she lands. And that is going to be a double kill going the way of the Lycan. White Shadows messed that up. They did not spend that Aegis in that team fight, so that is really bad. The Burrow Strike is actually going to be that is going to catch out the Faceless Void in the middle of his TP. The Observer Ward being planted in the top lane, that is going to spot out the Faceless Void. He will not be able to get out of this team fight pretty soon. The Aegis is going to get popped up, and he does not look to be in a really safe position. He does have the Time Walk, but he's going to get spotted out by the Lycan and the Sand King. The Ice Blast is actually going to be there. He is going to be able to escape for a while, but let's see how long he's going to be able to do that. There is going to be a Burrow Strike from the Sand King pretty soon, but that is not going to spot the Faceless Void. He manages to escape in a really from a tough position
Middle tower
somehow, but we see the mid lane is going to get sieged up by the side of Generation X. The Illuminate coming in from the Keeper of the Light will not be able to hold that up for long.
Tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
So yeah, things are looking really well for Generation X. They are doing really well. The Blink is going to be there, so the tanking is not going to go down. And as we see, and as we say that the daytime is going to spawn, and the Night Stalker will be rendered useless until his next night cycle. So a few hundred gold more for the Ancient Apparition to complete his Aghanim Scepter. With that, things are going to be really devastating for the side of White Shadows. They have to deal with that Ice Blast going their way with that Chronosphere, which can possibly be not to their advantage since the Chronosphere can actually trap his own heroes. So he needs to be really careful on its usage.
Thank you, my beauties.
So the cheese is still in the Death Prophet's inventory. They can probably go for one more tier 2 siege if they decide to do so. The haste rune is going to get picked up by the Death Prophet. And we really haven't seen any smoke plays coming in from the side of White Shadows.
Flesh sustains, gold remains.
So the Lycan's wolves are going to scout out the Night Stalker. So an MKB is going to get queued up by the Lycan. That is going to allow him to deal True Strike to all their heroes, since the Night Stalker's silence is going to be a little bit difficult for him to handle. And meanwhile, we see another kill going the way of Generation X. The Night Stalker goes down with the Ice Blast, and a few right clicks coming in from the Viper secures that kill. So the Faceless Squad actually opting to go for the Assault Cuirass over more damage dealing items. A really good choice that is going to allow his teammates to survive a lot of these team fights with the Lycan dealing a lot of physical damage. So the Shiva's Guard is going to get completed on the Death Prophet pretty soon, and an Aghanim Scepter soon to follow for the Night Stalker. Yeah, both the teams are looking really strong, even though Generation Hex do have that little bit of an advantage with their big ultimates like the Tyrant's Ravage and the Ancient Apparition's Ice Blast.
I'll take your tribute.
So the Tyrant are actually not going to go for the Shields Guard, opting to go for that Lotus Orb instead. That's going to prove really useful in these team fights.
Time is money.
If the Death Prophet goes for that Soul Siphon on any of these heroes.
Double damage.
So the Rod of Atos is actually going to be there on the Sand King, and he actually goes down. The Puck and the Death Prophet manage to secure the kill, and we see an immediate rotation coming in from the side of White Shadows. They want to go for the tier 3 in the bottom lane. They do have that Exorcism and the Keeper of the Light helping them out. And the Chronosphere is actually going to be there. Beautiful Chronosphere coming in from the Faceless Blood. That is going to secure the kill onto the Ancient Apparition. And the Viper is soon to follow. That is going to be a double kill going their way. The Epicenter is not going to deal any damage actually, since the BKB has been popped up by the Faceless Void. The Master Manus is not going to prove to be useful. The Time Walk is going to be there. He's going to survive for a little while. And there is going to be a Waning Grip and a Illusion coming in from the top. He's going to look really low. But the Exorcism is dealing a lot of damage to the Lycanthrope, and he goes down actually, and the Sand King soon to follow. That is 4 heroes down for the side of Generation X. White Shadows are going to capitalize on this advantage that they have, and they're going to secure one lane of barracks for their own.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack.
So the bottom barracks are going to go down. There is not going to be any buyback from the side of Generation X. White Shadows beautifully turned this around with that team fight. And the mid lane is also going to get seized up by the heroes.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's
This could possibly be Mega Creeps going their way. The Lycan has brought back into the game.
middle barracks.
And let's see if they are going to be able to get that top lane of barracks. The Puck is looking really weak though. He is going to silence, and the Illusion plus Waning Rift is going to allow him to survive a little bit longer. He blinks into the Ice Blast actually, and that is going to result in a kill going his way. The Night Stalker actually goes down, and the Faceless Void will be able to escape for a while. The Coddle, the same cannot be set for him. He goes down. The BKB has been popped by the Lycan, and that is going to secure the kill. Meanwhile, the top lane is going to get pushed up by the creeps. So that was a really beautiful team fight going the way of White Shadows, even though they lost 3 heroes in the resulting buybacks coming in from the Lycanthrope. They managed to secure 2 lanes of barracks, and they only have 1 lane of barracks to worry about in these team fights. The Roshan is going to get spotted out by the heroes of Generation X. They are going to secure that pretty soon, without any contest that too, since 3 heroes are dead from the side of White Shadows.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant are scanning.
Actually, we see the Night Stalker buying back, and he knows that Roshan is going to get contested. With that Aghanim Scepter, he knows that he can see with flying vision what the status of the Roshan is going to be, and actually he is going to snatch the Aegis. That is going to be a disastrous thing going their way. The Exorcism has been popped, and the Chronosphere is going to deal a lot of damage. The Lycanthrope has been trapped up by the Chronosphere, and he goes down just like that. The Viper is soon to follow. The Spirit Serpent is going to be there. The Ravage is not really going to be used by the Tidehunter. The BKB is going to get popped up by the Viper, but that is not going to result in a kill. The beautiful Ravage coming in from this Tidehunter, that is going to get the heroes of White Shadows really low. But the Faceless Void goes down, and the Puck is going to chase the Sand King, and he actually goes down. That is going to be 4 heroes down for the side of Generation X. That is again going to result in the top lane of barracks going down without any contest, actually, since the creeps are already there. So backdoor protection is not really a big deal. The Exorcism is actually going to go down though. The top lane of barracks is soon to follow. The Tidehunter, what can you really do with that? He is going to get tied around by the Night Stalker and his friends, the Puck and the Death Prophet, dealing the damage to the barracks, trying to secure that. They will be able to get that pretty much without any contest. The Ancient Apparition has respawned into the game, but they will not be able to do a lot. That is going to be Mega Creeps going the way of White Shadows. Puck does have the Dream Coil that is not really going to connect onto the Ancient Apparition. He's going to go down, he's going to get used up by the Night Stalker. The Tidehunter is actually taking a lot of damage in this team fight. Actually, it's not a team fight, this is actually a massacre going the way of White Shadows. Generation X really did play well in this game, but apparently that was not enough to get the kill.
A prize.
So with the Mega Creeps going their way, we see White Shadows is retreating out of the tower base. They're going to let those creeps do the job for them as they farm up more of their items and eventually deal the ending blow.
Dire's bottom shrine is under attack.
We see the Puck actually going for that Aghanim Scepter, and
Dire's top shrine is under
Mjolnir
attack.
is going to get completed onto the Faceless Void pretty soon. So the Aghanim Scepter has been completed onto the Puck. He will be getting that in the career pretty soon.
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
Gold for me.
So the heroes of Generation X are holding this game pretty amicably. But I don't see them really winning this game, since they don't have a lot of controllabilities like the Faceless Void. The Chronosphere proving to be a little bit too OP for them to handle.
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
Haste!
So the top shrine is going to go down. The Puck will be able to secure that.
Double harm shall I deal.
The Faceless Void is trying to farm up his Mjolnir before he wants to go to the high ground. That is actually a good idea, since the heroes of Generation X do not really have a way of farming. Mega Creeps don't give a lot of gold, and they're essentially getting zoned out of their own base. Terrain core has been completed on the heroes of... Actually, the Terrain core has been completed onto the Death Prophet. The Keeper of the Light is going to get chased up by the Lycanthrope, but there is going to be that Faceless Void going to TP there. The Chronosphere is actually going to be there, and that might just result in a kill. We actually see a beautiful Chronosphere attempt coming in from the Faceless Void. That is going to result in 2 kills possibly. The Tidehunter will not be able to pop that Ravage anytime soon. The BKB is going to get popped up by the Faceless Void. The Tidehunter is going to go down without any doubt. He is getting really tanky, so he can probably kite this around for a little while. But Mega Creeps are already there in the base.
Presumably a pity.
Просто нечто.
And we actually see 3 heroes going down for the side of Generation X. They're trying to defend this pretty hard, but they will not be able to do so since the Viper is going to get... He is going to go down pretty soon. The Faceless Void actually goes down in that team fight. He actually buys back TPs to the bottom lane of creeps. And we see the Exorcism hasn't popped up and the Ancient is going to go down. GG no play is going to get called up. And that was a really beautiful game played by White Shadows. Things were not looking really well for them, but they eventually managed to bring that back up. I'm Old Bear, also known as Siddharth Prashant, and I'm going to be signing off right now.
Enemy